Hey, what's up YouTube? Gino's Gadgets here. And guys, today we want to talk about the big announcement today from Apple. So today we're going to give you a breakdown of the not one, not two, but three different iPhones that were announced today. Three different models. You have the iPhone 8, you have the iPhone 8s, and you have the iPhone 10 or iPhone X, Roman numeral 10. So I want to give you a breakdown today of those devices and the features of them, the difference, and then we want to take a look at what's a standout about those devices compared to other devices that are out now and see if it makes sense for you to buy one. So with no further ado, let's go into the new iPhones. All right, so first and foremost, let's look at the three different models. So first you have a 4.7-inch model iPhone 8, which it looks basically exactly like the regular iPhone 6 or iPhone 7. You still have the same type of display. You still have pretty much the same features as the iPhone 7, but this time the back of the device is made out of glass, so that enables the phone to be able to charge wirelessly. So it does adhere to the Qi wireless standard. So if you have a Samsung wireless charger or a Belkin wireless charger or something like that that supports Qi wireless, then you will be able to charge the new iPhones on those wireless charging docks that you have. So that's kind of a cool new feature. I think I've heard from several different folks that own iPhones. I use a wireless charger all the time. I have one right here on my desk that I use. I have one that I use on my nightstand. It's really, really convenient, really cool to be able to just take your phone and just literally just sit it down and it works. You don't have to worry about getting the cord in right and stuff and getting that plugged in. So new feature, wireless charging on that device. So you do have both glass now on the front and the back, so it's not metal on the back the way it used to be, but that's giving you that feature. So that's the trade-off for the glass back. So those capacities are coming in on the regular iPhone 8. You have a 64 gigabit model and you have a 256 gigabit model. So pretty big jump between those two. There will also be a jump in price there, and the colors, it comes in both space gray and silver at launch. And a lot of times Apple and Samsung and LG, these other companies, they'll come out with other colors later on, color variants that they do. But right now, just those two colors. So like I said, you're going to have on that device a 4.7-inch display. It is not AMOLED. We'll get to the AMOLED screen version later. But yeah, it is still a Retina LCD display, but they're still pretty good displays. So yeah, you'll be able to get those in 64 gigabytes. Also, you're going to have the iPhone 8 Plus. The iPhone 8 Plus gives you the two cameras. Gives you the dual cameras, the same basic setup that was on the iPhone 7, the True Tone flash, and you have the bigger 5.5-inch screen. But pretty much the same features there. Also adding a glass back so you can have wireless charging, and that's pretty much it. So the iPhone 8 is pretty much just like the iPhone 7, just adding wireless charger, the wireless charging capability, and you have the new iPhone A11 chip. So it's a really, really powerful 64-bit processing chip that has all these different neural engine technologies and things built into it, just for faster processing speeds with dedicated GPU, as well as augmented reality features and stuff that are improved by having that powerful chip. Now that we've covered the iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus, let's move on to the big boy, the one that I know a lot of people are excited about, which is the iPhone X. So a quick spec rundown for the iPhone X. It's going to come in both 64 gigabytes and 256 gigabytes. You're going to have space gray and silver as well in those. And I'll show a picture, but you'll notice the basic. A lot of people have said, "Hey, the new iPhones, it looks just like a Galaxy S8." And you can't really, disagree. I mean, it does look a lot like the Galaxy S8, which I have here. This is actually the S8 Plus, so this is going to be a little bit larger. But there's an interesting cutout right here. There's like an extra little notch, kind of like it's got a bump on its forehead that kind of comes down and interrupts the screen. And I'll show you. Had a little cutout here that I'll show you, but yeah, it's just kind of like a little interruption. It's a little odd. It might take some getting used to at first, but I'm sure after you use it for a while, it won't really bother you. But I'll fold this up and just kind of show you. So you see how the screen looks here. There's just like a little interruption right about there. And so it kind of looks like there's this little interruption in the screen, but you can still see a little bit on the side. There's two little ears, two little areas where you can still see on the side of the device. So it is a little bit odd, but you'll probably get used to it after a while. So yeah, you still have your notifications and your time and stuff up there, but there's this little notch that's just kind of interrupted at the very top. But then everything else kind of stays business as usual. So, but the reason why they have that little interruption up top is a lot like Samsung. I don't know if you can tell because it's kind of a black bar up there, but there's a lot of little sensors. There's your front-facing camera. They're doing this new technology with the front-facing camera and a cluster of sensors to do what they call Face ID. And so it's the way it works is basically a lot like Face Unlock on Samsung's devices. So I'll show you here. I hope that I'm in the frame. So my device is is locked right now. So if I touch it right now, it's going to ask me to unlock the device with my eyes or a code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock it here, turn this way, and I'm wearing glasses, so hope you guys can get me in the frame, but you'll see I press here and it'll look at me and then unlock. So there you go. The device is unlocked. It saw me, and I'll show you what it does again, close up, without actually having to see. So I just press here on the home button. It wakes the screen up, and then it asks for me to either put in my code or put my eyes, line them up in those nice circles there, and it will unlock. Now, the gentleman that got up on stage today to demo that, it didn't work. He was like, yeah, you just look at your device and yeah, it just opens. He was like, well, yeah, let's see, it didn't work. So, and unfortunately, they took the home button off the device, and they took there's no home button. At least on here, I have a home button still that's embedded under the screen. And I have glasses on, so I just usually do like that, and it opens right up. Because when I first set it up, I didn't have my glasses on, so I just kind of do one of these numbers, and it opens right up. So, but unlike the Samsung Galaxy S8, if you don't want to do the face unlock or the iris scanners, which that's the way Samsung's device works, and that is the highest level currently, to my knowledge, of security as far as biometric authentication. It's just because the iris is even harder to fool than the face because they're using they're using sensors and IR dots to project towards the face to make kind of a 3D model of the face, and so that's how they know if it's you or someone else. But they did basically say if you have an identical twin or someone that looks pretty much exactly like you, then they're going to be able to unlock your device likely. Whereas with your iris, no one, even if you do have an identical twin, if it's scanning the iris is the little colorful part with all the little speckles and dots in your eye. And I'm not going to try to get close enough for you to see my iris, but you can't, fake an iris. And even if you're an identical twin, your iris is not going to be exactly like your twin's iris, even if your face looks just like that person. So it seems like to me that it may be a little bit of a miss, but like I said, when he got on stage, I'll post a link in the description below of the gentleman kind of struggling to show that feature on stage. He had a device. He was walking through how it works. You just hold it right here, and he was like, oh, well, let's see. And then he tried it again, and then he tried it on a second device, and he was like, okay, we'll just do the backup. He was like, whoa, he he definitely drew attention to the fact that it wasn't working properly. He was like, oh, whoa, Anyway, it wasn't working, but he ended up just typing in the code and got it to unlock that way. So it was a little bit of a fail there, and I think people were kind of bagging on him online, and people are on Twitter and Facebook and stuff and saying epic fail and everything. But it's technology. I mean, it's brand new. I'm sure they'll work the bugs out of it, hopefully, before it launches in November. I believe the date that we were given was November 3rd. So even though they announced the brand new iPhone X or iPhone 10, it won't actually be available until November the 3rd. Now the iPhone 8 on the other end, the ones that look just like the iPhone 7, but just with wireless charging and a glass back, those will be start to be pre-ordered, I believe, on September 15th or 17th. And then a week or so later, they'll actually be out. So in a couple of weeks, you'll actually be able to get one of those. So that's the upside of that. So the new iPhones, depending on which version you're looking at, which ones you want, you may have to wait a little longer for some of the other ones. But yeah, so the way it works is with the iPhone 8, you will, if you're on one of the US carriers, I'm not really sure overseas, but you will be able to start pre-ordering those on the 15th. And those will be available to pick up in stores or to be delivered to your front door on the 22nd. So the 15th, and then 7 days later on the 22nd. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. So this Friday, you will be able to pre-order an iPhone 8. Now you will have to wait a good bit of time to order the iPhone 10, and it's a Roman numeral 10, so iPhone X is what's on everything, but you'll be able to pre-order starting on the 27th of October, and you'll be able to see those devices in store on November the 3rd. So to me, I mean, I was glad to see Apple do something a little bit different with the design, because I think a lot of people are really looking forward to something different in the design. I mean, the iPhones have been looking pretty much the same for the last 3 or 4 years. And so with Samsung doing what they're doing, man, with these devices, I mean, just really good looking devices, pretty much all screen design, very, very minimal bezels on the top and the bottom, and basically no bezels on the side. And just, man, just the craftsmanship, it looks almost like one solid piece of metal or glass, just because it's so well crafted. And so I think they really felt like they needed to respond here with Samsung making stuff like this, and even LG and some of the other manufacturers just making really high-end, really premium-looking devices. That used to be an area where Apple was like top dog. There used to be, they used to be the best looking devices out there, and just quality looking craftsmanship. And, but I mean, I don't know if you've seen a Galaxy S8, but I mean, it's like a piece of art almost. I mean, it's just seamless, the design. It curves on the front, it curves on the back. The way it is ergonomically in your hand, it's hard to imagine, them putting a 6.2-inch screen in this small of a package with basically no bezels. So, but these devices are just really, really nice. I've had this one for about 4 months now, and so I really feel like Apple was under the gun here to really, really respond and try to come up with a new design. And I think it is going to be a big learning curve for people, especially people that just aren't tech savvy. That's one of the things I think that Apple has had, kind of on their side, is that you don't really have to be tech savvy to work an iPhone, because it's really just the one button and all the apps are pretty much all on the screen. So you just swipe and find which one you want. And so it was really straightforward and kind of basic, but still really straightforward. And it worked really well because of the simplicity. Now you're having to, since there's no home button, you're having to like swipe up from the bottom to go back. So if like you're in like an internet website or something like that, you can't just hit the home button and go back to the home screen. So if you're in that, you would have to swipe up or something, or swipe the app away. And that's just going to be too much of a learning curve, especially for the older people that are just a little more, tech challenged. And no offense, to anybody who's, not everybody's like ultra into tech and follow it closely like some of us do, but some people just want a simple user interface that they can use, or they feel like anybody can use. So I do feel like that is going to turn some people off, at least with the new iPhone X or iPhone 10. Whereas the iPhone 8s, it's pretty much business as usual. You still have that big round home button. You hit that, go back home, go to your app. So I think people are going to be a lot more comfortable with that user interface, because you don't have to relearn how to use it. Whereas with the swipes and gestures and not having a home button and figuring out how to, how far away to have the device to do your Face ID or whatever, I think that's going to be too much for some folks. So I don't think you'll have quite as many takers on the iPhone X for that reason, and also for the reason of just the price. The entry level price for the iPhone X or iPhone 10 is $1,000. It's $999. And so that's a lot of money. That's for the 64 gigabit version. And so after tax, man, you're going to be, you're going to be looking at a lot of money. You're pushing $1,100 out of the door for that phone. So that's just not going to be feasible for a lot of people. And I believe there's a 256 gigabit version that's close to $1,200. And so that's just going to be way out of the park for a lot of people to spend on a phone. So I do think they will kind of get some pushback for that, and that will alienate some Apple fans. But anyway, they're Apple. They'll be okay. They're still going to sell a ton of them. And they'll probably sell even more of the iPhone 8s, since they're not quite as expensive. I think they're $699 and $799. So $700 and $800 is still less than $1,000. So, but yeah, just let me know what you think about the iPhone X or the iPhone 8. Let me know if you're planning on buying one and why. Or if you're planning on going with a device like a Galaxy S8 or an LG V30 or maybe a Google Pixel phone or something like that. Just because the bottom line is a lot of time people will brand default. They'll just kind of default to whatever brand they usually have always had, and usually we'll just stick to that and won't really try anything else. But I will encourage you, if you're an Apple fan and you've had mostly iPhones, but you haven't tried any of these other phones out there, it used to be that the iPhone, as far as the technology and innovation, it was so far ahead of anything else that was out, that it was just like, man, it felt like a downgrade getting anything else that wasn't an Apple iPhone. But guys, nowadays it's not that way. You'd be surprised if you're tech savvy at all, and could pick up how to use a new operating system. Some of these Android phones out here, and I mean the high end, don't go and buy a $50 prepaid Android phone and think you're still going to get the same level of experience of like a Galaxy S8 or a Note 8 or something like that, because I mean, like I said, these are $900 phones as well, and they have just as good, if not better, hardware and technology than the iPhones have. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at going outside of the iOS ecosystem. Just make sure you have to keep in mind you get what you pay for. You're not going to get the same level of experience of an iPhone that you paid $600-700 for in a $80 prepaid Android phone. You have to get a high-end prepaid, I'm sorry, not prepaid, but a high-end Android phone that costs just as much as an iPhone to get that same level of experience. Because I would dare say I've been using this Galaxy Note 8 for 2 or 3 weeks now, and this thing has the best camera and best screen that I've ever seen on any device. And I know DisplayMate did an article last week saying that hands down this is the best screen technology that they've ever seen on a phone. And I can put a link to their article in the description below. But even with the new iPhone having an OLED display that is made by Samsung, by the way, because Samsung is pretty much the king of those displays, of any type of display really. I still don't know if it's going to be quite to par as like a Note 8. I don't think the brightness levels are going to be there. I believe the website says that it's around 750 nits of brightness on the screen of the new iPhone, whereas the Galaxy S8 has up to 1,000 nits of brightness. And just the poppy bright colors, the bold colors of the AMOLED screen are unmatched. And then to take it even further, the Note 8 has up to 1,200 nits of brightness. So that's almost double what the iPhone has. And just those rich, bold, deep colors, that's going to be kind of a tough one for Apple to be able to duplicate, especially with them being new to the game here as far as OLED displays are concerned. So anyway, iPhone X or iPhone 8 or neither. iPhone none. Just let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe to these videos, guys. I'm posting new videos every week, sometimes multiple videos every week. So love to hear you guys' feedback. Be kind to each other, and I'll see you guys in the next video.